Alright, so today we're going to be looking at and reacting to Marvel Spider-Man 2 story trailer. I've seen the trailer a couple times. It actually came out a couple months ago. This reaction is overdue. It's pretty long overdue, and I think that they're going to do a new story trailer soon, if I'm not mistaken. If not, they'll do a gameplay trailer or some combination of both, which will be awesome. We've gotten a ton of cool shit from Insomniac since the gameplay trailer back in, I think it was 3 months ago, so May, June? I think maybe early June. That sounds about right. I could be wrong on that, but anyways, story trailer reaction video is much overdue. Let's get into it. I'm going to break it down, give all my thoughts on this, what I kind of want to see for the game, what I think might happen. I'll just go scene for scene by the trailer, so let's get into it. PlayStation, Insomniac. Sorry, I got to clear my throat here. So it obviously starts out, a lot's happened in the last 10 years. Harry Osborn has come back. So whether he's okay, he's somewhat healed. We saw him in his tank with Norman. Let's actually play the scene here. Okay, so this is Harry.
Even sitting here now.
So he just said, there he is. He just said it's a miracle he's sitting here now. So at the end of Spider-Man, actually both Spider-Man games, Insomniac games, both PS4 and Miles Morales, we saw Harry in the tank in Norman's lab, right? In Norman's penthouse. And was it at Oscorp? I don't know if it was at Oscorp or Norman's penthouse. I don't remember at the moment, but it was in his penthouse with the MJ mission. Anyways, so Harry's in the tank, and obviously he has his disease, the same disease that his mother had. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but you know, Harry's obviously dying from it, and Norman is trying to do everything he can in order to save Harry. Now, remember in the gameplay trailer when Peter and Miles are chasing Lizard, and Peter's super angry, fighting off Kraven's forces, saying, and the Lizard, because the Kraven's hunting the Lizard, who is Kurt Connors, and Kurt Connors seems to be working on a cure for Harry. Now he's saying, uh, we need to get to Connors. Harry's dying, and he's the only one who can help. So Harry seems fine here. It'll be interesting to see is how his health either deteriorates or something doesn't work out to where Peter and Miles need to make sure they save Connors so Connors can, continue to work on a cure for Harry to save him completely. Obviously, Peter doesn't want Harry to die. That's why he's so pissed off in that gameplay trailer, which is awesome. I want to see a lot of angry Peter, symbiote or not, in the game because we didn't get to see as much of it as I would have liked in Spider-Man PS4. So I'm really looking forward to see how that's going to be handled. As we can see, Harry's fine right now. He's saying, actually, what did he say right there? Okay, lots happened in the last 10 years.
Sitting here now.
Yeah, so he seems to be okay at this point. Like I said, we saw him at the end of both games. Connors was working in the lab at the end of Miles Morales. I just explained, kind of loosely what I think is going to happen. I'd like to see how they're going to handle this.
I got a second chance. I'm going to take advantage of that.
So here's Peter, and Peter looks quite similar to where he looks similar to obviously his remastered counterpart. I think it's Ben. Is it Ben Jordan who does the face model, the new face model, rather than John Bubniak? I know there was a ton of controversy on that back when when the remaster came out. They had the new face model and differentiating itself from Spider-Man PS4, and I think it's Ben Jordan. He's also the face model in Miles Morales as well. He looks good here. Obviously, the graphics are super high. This is a cutscene, not actual gameplay, so it's gonna look more realistic, I guess. I really like how they really modernized these characters to look like they would in 2023 as, what are they, 25? I think they're about 25 years old in this, mid-20s. So it's pretty realistic. I'm in my late 20s. When I was in my mid-20s, I had my hair styled similar to this. It's what I do now. It just makes sense for the modern day. Now, I loved Bubniak's model. But I'm really used to Ben Jordan's face model, and I think I would have definitely come to love Ben Jordan's face model if they had used that first. I'll explain why I think it matters that they changed it and why I don't like Ben Jordan's face model as much in another video. But as of now, I like it. If they changed it, at least they didn't like completely pull this out of their ass and fucking pull the wool out of our eyes and say, "Oh, look at this new face model for the new game." No, it was years ago. It's been over 3 years now. We've had time to get used to it. Which, if Insomniac was gonna make this change, they did it the right way. They gave us enough time to get used to it. We've seen this for years now. We're fine. So this is not a shock by any means. This is Peter's new face model. We're used to it.
But I need you with me, Pete. We're gonna heal the world.
So they say they're gonna heal the world. Now, you wonder. I don't know exactly where they're going. Obviously, we had Harry's research station missions in the first game, and also when in one of the first scenes, towards the beginning of the game, when Peter and Otto are working in Otto's lab, Norman says, "Hey, Harry's returning from Europe next summer. Maybe you guys can start that business you've always dreamed of." So perhaps it has something to do with this. It seems to be that it does, but it's funny because obviously, at the end of the game, shows and it reveals that Harry was not in Europe. He was in fact dying and healing in Norman's lab. So let's see what happens here. I'm really excited to see. We're only 6 fucking weeks away, by the way. So let's hope this time goes fast. Really excited. Couldn't be more excited for this game. Now this here is so fucking cool. Look at this. I think they're. I don't think you can see the Freedom Tower there in the background. I don't know if they're in Manhattan right now. You can, I think they added. It's confirmed that you're going to be able to play in Brooklyn, Queens, and Coney Island. So it's huge. So they expanded the map. Maybe they're going to make it feel new without putting us in a different place, which I think is awesome. Apparently, the game's going to be 98 gigabytes, which is massive. And God of War Ragnarok, I think, was 84 gigabytes, and Hogwarts Legacy was 80. And for this to be, 15, 20% bigger than those games, I understand it doesn't always mean content. There's all things that goes into what takes up the memory. But this game seems like it's going to be massive. I mean, 98 gigs, that's huge. I think Elden Ring was like 115, which is and Elden Ring is a behemoth of a fucking game. I didn't really play it, but my brother said it was huge. It took him a while to beat all of it, and he didn't even 100% it. But like I said, God of War Ragnarok, 84 gigs, took me a long fucking time to 100%. Game is huge. So I'm just really excited to see all the content they can put into this game. I guess that's why they can slap like a $70 price tag on these games now, because there's so much content. There's just so much in these games. But anyways, back to this scene. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna let this part play from the beginning, and then I'm gonna let this play all the way through, and then I'm gonna say what I think's cool. So I think that is so fucking cool. Look at this. It's Peter and Miles, our two Spider-Men, the Insomniac Spider-Men, the Spider-Men we've come to know and love over the past, 3 to 5 years. 5 years for Peter. Miles has been Spider-Man since 2020, which is awesome. But look at this. They're both Spider-Men. They're doing their thing. Peter's in his absolute prime. Miles is learning. He's learning the ropes, but he's awesome too. And look at this. They're jumping off the buildings together. They're swinging through the city. Who knows what they're going to do? They're probably going to fucking save somebody. And I really hope there's like scenes like this when, like, imagine if the game opens with them both talking to each other, right? And they're like, "Hey, remember when you kicked that guy's ass or something?" And just having a great time both being Spider-Man, loving what they do. I really want to see a lot of this here. I understand there's going to be some beef. There's going to be some contention between the two, because if there's no conflict, then it's not fun, obviously, because Peter's symbiote in the gameplay trailer, you can see Miles saying, "Whoa, what's going on with Pete?" And I think even later in this trailer, there's going to be point of contention between MJ and Peter, maybe even Miles as well. But I want to see, definitely, even if although there is going to be conflict, I want to see a lot of, I'm sure there is going to be that, brother from another mother love, that kind of, hey, we're in this together type attitude. I definitely want to see a lot of that, and I think there will be. I mean, even in the introduction to the new PlayStation with the cover plates, the PlayStation bundle, when Miles goes, "What is this stuff?" and Pete goes, "Keep doing that on 3." And the voice acting between Yuri Lowenthal and Najee Jeter is just so amazing, and I can't even describe how hype I am for to hear these great voice actors in action once again side by side. So scenes like this, we absolutely need them, and we need fucking double team takedowns too. Watch my God of War Ragnarok Atreus and Kratos double takedown video. We need double team takedowns just like that. Look at this, Miles with the backwards dive.
Guys,
Coney Island. So Coney Island is going to be a so Coney Island here looks like it's going to be a new playable area. Hopefully we get a badass boss fight here. Oh, we got Big Wheel. Big Wheel's an interesting Marvel villain. I don't remember him from too many comics. I'm only more familiar with with more modern comics, probably like mid '90s on. But I remember Big Wheel from the animated series when he's fighting Rocket Racer from the Christopher Daniel Barnes animated series, which is really cool. So hopefully there's an awesome boss fight for a side mission on Coney Island. But let's continue.
Guys, this is my.
So this is another thing that I love is like this is the fam here, the characters we've come to know and love. Well, MJ, Peter, Miles, and Genki. Harry's obviously new, but look at this. They're all hanging out together, going to the Coney Island together. Let's have a good time, At the end of the day, yes, Peter and Miles, they're superheroes. They're Spider-Man. MJ, she does her reporting. Genki's a super genius tech scientist. But you know what? They're at the end of the day, they're young adults. They're just Peter and Genki are like in their late teens. They're just fucking kids. And Peter and MJ and Harry, they're in their mid-20s. They're gonna have their life of fun too. It's not all just superheroing, which I think is great. And they're all hanging out together. This is what makes this stuff relatable.
My best friend Harry. Hey, good to meet you. New job, huh? Still gonna have time for.
So Miles obviously says he's still gonna have time for tutoring. Now, obviously, he means Peter being Miles' Spider-Man mentor. Uh, it makes sense that he's gonna say, hey, are you gonna be around? Like, can you be Spider-Man to help me? Obviously, it's Peter. He's gonna make time for it. He always does. But another thing is that what do people think of Miles' new hairstyle, the dreads? I like it. I think it looks really cool. I loved the fade that he had in his own game. In his game from 2020, that was a great hairstyle too. I'm really impartial to it. Doesn't really make a difference to me. They both look great. What do people think?
Tutoring? We'll figure it out.
Peter's optimistic about it. So as we saw this scene here, the chopper from the helicopter from the fucking gameplay trailer. Kraven, who knows if this shit's who knows if he's being funded by Oscorp? We don't know that yet. It'd be sick if if he was, and Kraven really, comes in guns blazing. Yeah, so these are Kraven's men.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
So this here looks like a brute enemy, kind of similar to like the I guess you could say the demon brutes or the big brutes in Spider-Man PS4, and then in Miles Morales when those brutes, the underground brutes with the shields and the clubs, those guys are pretty tough to take down. You definitely needed 2 finisher bars to take them down. I always actually use the gravity well to throw them off balance and just hit them with a Venom attack because they are really dangerous in that game. So maybe these brutes will be similar. I hope it's really hard. In my opinion, Spider-Man PS4 is a little bit too easy. Even like in the DLC, the Hammerhead and the Olympus hideouts are a little bit too easy, even on the hardest difficulties. Maybe not everybody agrees with that. Miles Morales did a little bit better. I think it's a little bit harder. The enemies are slightly more challenging, but I hope this game is quite challenging. Maybe they can. I know they had ultimate difficulty. Maybe they can even have like a fucking super ultimate or super extreme or like who knows. But this looks like a brute enemy. Anyways, Peter cracking his jokes. What do you say?
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
Yeah, Peter being his classic comedic self. There is the web wings. I can't wait to use these web wings. They look so cool.
I have another name for you. Kraven.
So,
Hey, MJ.
let's talk about
I
this
have
here.
another name for you. Kraven.
So, Peter just said he has another name for MJ, right? Kraven. Now, as we know, MJ is a reporter for the Daily Bugle. Now, remember back in Spider-Man PS4 uh, when we first meet the demons and MJ and Peter's first interaction, they meet when the demons are at that museum, and the demons are there, and Peter obviously fights them off, and Peter brings a mask from the demon mask to Mr. Lee, and he says, "Hey, MJ's working on this case with the demons. Look at this mask. What can you tell me about it?" And obviously, Martin Lee being Mr. Negative, he says, "Hey, like this is connected to dangerous people. Tell her to pick a new case." Because Mr. Negative, aka Martin Lee, was gonna do his thing. He had a mission. He didn't necessarily want to hurt Peter or MJ, but he wasn't gonna let them get in his way either. So he says, "Hey, uh, you know." Tell her to find a new case. So obviously we know MJ's a reporter. She went with it anyway. She wasn't going to leave the case. We saw her stealth missions. She got herself into trouble a couple times. And yeah, so Peter says, "Hey, I got another name for you, Kraven." Now, this might be a story that MJ is reporting on, of course, putting her in danger. Now, what I really want to see is I want to see Kraven or anybody really, but it seems it comes to reason that it would be Kraven. What if he does something to MJ? He kidnaps her or he hurts her in some way. Now, Kraven's done some really fucked up shit in the past in the comics. There's the Grim Hunt. There's the beginning of Nick Spencer's run where he like locks all of like 2018 around there where he locks like all of the animal enemy types in the in this dome for them to fight each other. He obviously this is loosely based on Kraven's Last Hunt, where he actually ends up borderline killing Spider-Man, and he does for a period of time. And the Grim Hunt is where it's the hunters versus the spiders, which is kind of a weird storyline. And actually on in Zeb Wells' run right now, there's actually something called Peter's First Hunt, and actually it just came out a couple days ago. Like I said, it's going on in Zeb Wells' run right now. I got to get my hands on that. For anybody that's into comics, that's what I'm talking about. But anyways, I really want Kraven to do something to MJ. I don't want MJ to die, but I want Kraven to do something to MJ or Miles or somebody that Peter really cares about, and I want Peter to just go full fucking berserk mode. Just get super angry and just fight with his actual full power. So we see an enraged Peter just ready to fucking rip somebody's head off. Kind of like we saw in the Symbiote trailer, but I almost want it to be not tethered to the Symbiote. I think Peter's rage and anger, just from like being an emotional 25-year-old or just an emotional person in general. Hey, that's my girl. That's who I love. I mean, think about it. And the death of Gwen Stacy the night Gwen Stacy died. You killed the woman I love. Talking to Goblin, or even in Spider-Man the new animated series with Neil Patrick Harris when Peter's in like a dream sequence. There are these two twin villains that make Peter dream that Kraven kills MJ, and Peter he goes fucking nuts. I really want that to happen. Obviously MJ, she's a reporter. She's gonna get her thing done. She plays kind of the lowest lane in this, but nothing's gonna stop her, and she's gonna walk into trouble, and I hope that gets her into enough trouble to where Peter goes nuts. Not because I want anything bad to actually happen to MJ. I want her to be saved in the end because I like MJ as a character, but I want Peter going fucking crazy in this game one way or another. We need to see a pissed off Peter, some of that spider tenacity. We got some of it in the first game. I want to see more. Not only just tenacity and determination, but anger. So let's see some of that. So these are Kraven's hunters again. I really hope this faction is really difficult. I hope they're like really badass and like really well trained in combat to where they're hard for Peter and Miles to fight, and we really need to whip out all our tricks in combat to beat them.
He's here on some kind of hunt.
So obviously he's here on some kind of hunt, alluding to Kraven's Last Hunt, or even like I said, I can't wait to get my hands on the new Zeb Wells comics with Peter hunting Kraven actually, which will be cool. But anyways, so he's here for some kind of hunt. We'll see what happens. I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out, but they need to keep the goddamn game a surprise, so we go through it and we play it. Nothing's fucking spoiled. But what is this? What's Peter doing here? He's obviously he's waitering. I thought I saw something. I don't know, remember, like, I know he's picked up odd jobs in comics before, but I don't really specifically remember this from any specific book. I do know a good amount about the comics, as I've kind of explained already, but I don't really know, and I've read a lot of them, but I don't really remember this specifically from anything. I wonder if this is the new job he was talking about, or maybe he's in disguise here. But what really gets me about this is, look at his face. Doesn't he look like he looks very non-confident, you know? For somebody that's been Spider-Man for a decade, he looks like a cross between terrified and devastated. Like, what happened recently, or what's going on for his face to be like this? And when I first saw the trailer, that's what really hit me. Like, what is truly going on in Peter's head here to where he has this expression on his face? I mean, he truly looks like, I don't know if he's ready to cry or go crazy or puke. Like, he looks devastated or terrified. For Spider-Man to be terrified like this, what's going on? I wonder what they're gonna do with this. So this here just looks like one of Kraven's robots. We saw him kick off one of these things, or at least something similar to it, in the Symbiote gameplay trailer. So here's the origin of the Symbiote. Or a piece of it. Maybe Peter left a piece behind. I don't really know how this is going to play. The symbiote, obviously in Ultimate Spider-Man, the symbiote was created, I believe, by Richard Parker and Edward Brock Sr., so Eddie Brock's father. So it's not an alien species. It's man-made in the Ultimate Universe, as opposed to an alien species from Battle, where the Beyonder gave it to Peter in Secret Wars back in the 80s on Battle. I think it was 1984. I could be wrong about that, but so we'll see how the origin of the symbiote is. It looks like maybe this is a flashback, but it looks like Harry already had the symbiote in Spider-Man PS4, so maybe this is a flashback to the origin of it. I guess we'll see.
Maybe I'm just a call away. Some kind of hunt. No, if you need me, I'm just a call away.
So Miles says to Peter, if you need me, I'm just a call away. So this leads me to believe that perhaps perhaps Peter's taking too much on by himself. Maybe he's trying to do too much by himself. Maybe he's angry at this point. Maybe something's happened to where he's pissed off and he feels like he needs to, you know, shoulder this burden on his own. I mean, think about it. He's been doing this alone for 9, 10 years at this point in this universe. Miles is only pretty newly Spider-Man, maybe a couple years in, and he's a great Spider-Man. Obviously Miles is badass. He's incredibly competent, as he's already proven, but Peter may still feel the need to burden this, and maybe he still doesn't want anything to happen to Miles or the people that he loves. And Miles is saying, hey, let me in. We have this brotherly bond. Let me in. I'll always be there to help you. And actually, it's funny because in Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker's death is perhaps a result of Miles, because Miles, he had his powers at this point, and he didn't step in and help Peter fight Norman in the Ultimates, in the death of Peter Parker's in Ultimate Spider-Man back in 2010, 2011, whenever that was. Obviously, although I heard the Ultimate Universe just came back, but after the Secret War events in 2015. All different Marvel kind of combined the two universes, so it's just Peter and Miles and 616 at this point. Although, like I said, I think the Ultimate Universe is back now. Ultimate Universe was created by Brian Michael Bendis back in 2000. So it's really cool how it's like, it's interesting how maybe there's some kind of a vague homage to that, but we'll see how this plays out, because Miles, he's saying, hey man, I'm just a call away. I'm always there to help you, and we'll see how it seems like Peter was kind of even being cold in the symbiote. Remember in the gameplay trailer, he says, like, Miles says, come on, let's not let Lizard get away, we can track him. Pete says, no, he's mine, I'll do this alone. And it's interesting because Peter doesn't have the symbiote in this. So is this before that time? Is it after? I guess we'll see. And that's what makes this interesting, is to where it's almost ambiguous to us, like, how much influence is the symbiote going to have on Peter? I hope it's not as much as it does in, like, Spider-Man 3, or even like the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show, or even like I was alluding to before, the 1990s Christopher Daniel Barnes TV show, because I would rather Peter just be angry and just that come from, his anger and his coldness come from within. It would be more relatable to true human emotion, in my opinion, rather than it coming from that outside source. I want the symbiote to play a role. Isn't, oh, look how strong he is. New combat mechanics. I would rather the symbiote be more of a combat mechanic, or I'm sorry, a gameplay factor to really improve the combat of the game and the gameplay, rather than it influence Peter as much as we've seen in past media. This is from the gameplay trailer when Miles is being a fucking Chad and just saves these people from getting shot by this chopper. Now this here, now I can't wait for this. So Martin Lee, as we were just talking about, who was Mr. Negative, the secondary antagonist in the original game, he's back. What role is he gonna play? So you don't know what you took from me. Obviously, he's the cause of death of Jefferson Davis, who's Miles Morales' father. And Miles perhaps wouldn't have become Spider-Man if it wasn't for this. But Miles is obviously incredibly angry. So we see Miles here, he's super angry. How's he gonna react? Is he gonna try and kill Martin? Is it gonna be like Carradine for Peter's origin story, the death of Uncle Ben? He's super angry, and rightfully so. His father, someone he loved pretty much more than anything, was killed, or the reason that he died was because of Martin Lee's Mr. Negative. And he's Spider-Man now. He has the power to do something about it. He can fight now. How is he going to handle this? And we see Peter in the background here. What's he doing? I wonder if he's just consoling people. It looks like there's a big fire. Probably just getting people to safety, as they're wont to do. And maybe he's going to turn around and reprimand Miles and say, "Hey, we got people to save," or something like that. And Miles is too focused on being pissed off at Martin Lee. So we'll see what happens. I really like Martin Lee's design here, like the long hair and the facial hair. Mr. Negative, I think his origin is maybe in the Brand New Day, maybe in Martin Lee and the Demons, maybe in Spider-Man Brand New Day, that series from 2007, 2008. If not, it would be Spider-Man Big Time. I think it is Brand New Day now that I'm thinking about it. He's a pretty cool character in the comics. He actually creates there's a period of time, I believe this part takes place in Spider-Man Big Time in that run. It's in part of Dan Slott's run, but he actually goes ahead and Eddie Brock has stomach cancer, and he's homeless, and he's in the feast shelter. He has his feast from the first game, the Spider-Man PS4. He's homeless, and he's at his feast shelter, and Martin Lee, he touches him and he cures him of his cancer, but he also turns him into anti-venom. So it's like Martin Lee, he literally created Eddie Brock's anti-venom. So and anti-venom's a cool character too. So I guess we'll see. I don't think we're gonna see any anti-venom or anything like that. That's a little bit too deep. Although we did see him in Spider-Man: Edge of Time as one of the main villains in that game. That game was alright. I liked the story, not necessarily the gameplay as much, but it was a cool story. But we'll see. What are they going to do with Martin Lee? Just another thing that they're going to, leave up to us to find out when we play the game. You don't know what you took from me. Man, that anger. Man, this voice acting is just too good. So, this here is probably Wraith, Yuri Watanabe. Yuri was basically like Peter's Commissioner Gordon in Spider-Man PS4. Yuri Watanabe was the connection that Peter has with the NYPD. She goes rogue at the end of play the Spider-Man DLC, City That Never Sleeps DLC to find out. She goes rogue. She's the Wraith in the comics. I think she's the second or third Wraith. I think Jean DeWolf was the first Wraith. Yuri's either the second or third Wraith, and it's really funny because in Spider-Man Big Time, on the comics, Carly Cooper, I think, is Peter's girlfriend at the time, ends up deducing that Yuri Watanabe is the Wraith. So she's actually the one who puts two and two together and figures that out, which I think is pretty cool. Anyways, this is probably the Wraith. Hopefully this will be a really awesome side mission for Peter and Miles to fight Yuri Watanabe's Wraith. She goes rogue, like I said, play the City That Never Sleeps DLC. Hopefully this is a badass fight. Maybe it's not the Wraith, but I think it is. It could be somebody else. I think it's Wraith. It's not obvious. We'll see once again.
All Miles talks about is how to be a better spider. You know what you took from me.
Okay, so I really want to talk about this next point. I think this will be cool, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this next scene. So this is really cool how Miles is like obviously being Spider-Man, like a beast fighting off what looks to be Kraven's men, looks like a new enemy type, maybe a flying enemy.
It's about is how to be a better Spider-Man.
Okay, so this here, you see Miles Morales' mother, Rio Morales. She's been through a shit ton. I'm not really going to go over it, but as we just said, the death of Jefferson Davis, her husband in the first game, is a big part of that. Now, as we know from the events of Spider-Man Miles Morales, we know that Rio knows that Miles is Spider-Man and she supports him. Now, I'm going to let this play out. I'm going to let this scene, I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to let it play out, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go through my thoughts on it.
All Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man.
Okay, so all Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man. Now, look at Peter in this. Peter, look at his body language. He looks, once again, he looks crushed. He looks upset. His head is down. I don't know if Rio knows the identity of Peter yet at this point. Maybe it'll be revealed. Probably not, if I had to guess. But, anyways, look at Peter's look. He looks almost guilty. He looks like almost something, or at least upset or sad that something's happened. And what I think is that I think they may have had their first interaction with Kraven, and I think they got fucked up. And I hope they got fucked up because I hope Kraven's badass. But I think Peter and Miles, they both got fucked up. And I think that Peter may have brought Miles home and he's beaten up. He's beaten down. They got away, but he got fucked up. And Rio, she's upset. She's scared. You know, she's having this conversation with Peter. Maybe Peter saying, "Hey, I don't want Miles doing this with me anymore." Who knows? But if I had to speculate, maybe Miles got fucked up and Peter's bringing him home, and Rio's just saying, like, nursing her son's wounds after trying to save somebody. Uh, you know, all Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man. Maybe Peter's saying, I don't want this for him. This is my burden, and she's saying, this is what he wants. Who knows? But that's what I think. Look at the body language of Peter here. I mean, this is not the body language of somebody that just had a victory. It just isn't. And I think this game's gonna tug on the heartstrings, but how much, how frequently, and how much and how frequently. That's my speculation on this scene. I hope Rio plays a big role. I liked her a lot in Miles Morales games, so hopefully she plays a decent role, decent sized role. This scene, I think it's gonna hit pretty hard. So we'll see where this comes from. We'll see what happens. Those are my thoughts.
How to help you.
Yeah, how to help you. And he just wants to help. Peter's been his hero for how long? Ever since he became Spider-Man in this universe. So, what the hell is going on with Pete? Now here we see the symbiote. We haven't seen much of the symbiote through this trailer, but now we see the symbiote. So, you're saying what the hell is going on with Pete? Once again, how much influence will this symbiote have? This shot here specifically is from the gameplay trailer. So, go back and watch it. It's really awesome. He's probably talking to MJ in this. What the hell's going on with Pete?
What the hell's going on with Pete? He's not himself.
Yeah, so he's not himself. MJ saying he's not himself. So the people that Peter loves the most, Miles, his mentee and his friend, Mary Jane, his girlfriend, his the woman he loves, probably even Harry. He's not himself. How far away is Peter gonna push his allies? How far away are his allies truly gonna be pushed? And how much will he have to do to get them back? That's what I'm really excited to see. That's what I'm most excited about in this whole entire narrative, is the relationships between MJ, Peter, and Miles. Now, keep in mind, these are developed characters. They didn't just pull these characters out of their asses. This isn't the fucking DC extended universe, okay? We are going to see these developed characters, these characters that we've come to know and love who are developed. What's going to happen? What's going to be their development? How's Peter going to push them away? Now, this shot here is directly from I think it's a relatively recent Spider-Man What If story. I don't know the writer or the exact name of it, but it's very, very close to a Spider-Man What If story. So, obviously, as we know, we had the MJ stealth missions in Spider-Man 2018, Spider-Man PS4. Will Will this be an MJ stealth mission where MJ is trying to avoid Peter? Who knows? Will they bring the stealth missions back? I don't know. But she looks terrified of Peter right now, and obviously Pete's got his symbiote suit on, so what the fuck's gonna happen? Go help him. So, Miles is saying, I think she's saying to Miles, "Hey, go help him. Like you're the only one who can do this." You know, this is a cool part right here. Whoops.
He's not himself. Go help him.
Okay, so Miles is face to face with it looks like a bunch of, once again, Kraven's enemies. These big guys with shields, they look like brute types again. As I was saying before, they kind of look like the Court of Owls brutes in Gotham Knights, which brings back terrible memories. That game sucks. I'd bet my bottom dollar this game's going to be a hell of a lot better than that. But anyways, they just look like them. So once again, hopefully this is really challenging. It looks like there's a fuck ton of enemies in here. So hopefully the combat's really cool and they can throw a shit ton of enemies so we can have some baller fucking combat encounters. Love the combat system in this Insomniac game. It's truly amazing. So hopefully they can only improve on it. So here we see the lizard screaming, and it looks like it's rattling Peter. For anybody that doesn't know, symbiotes like Venom, Carnage, the Toxin symbiote, the Life Foundation symbiotes, they're weak to sonics and fire. So those are their biggest weakness: sonics and fire. So the lizard screaming, the sound frequency is fucking with the suit and it's hurting Peter. Who knows when this is? Maybe this is at the end of that mission where they're trying to, get Connors back. From Kraven hunting it. Maybe this is right after that. Like I said, the combat gameplay trailer or the gameplay trailer. I don't know. I don't know when this is in the game, but the lizard screaming is fucking with Peter's suit clearly. Awesome shot though. So here's Kraven and his hunters. Kraven looks badass, like I said. I think in that scene when Peter's talking to Rio, I think he fucks them up. Like in their first encounter, like he probably just wrecks them. I hope he does, because I hope he's super badass. Super badass and strong and threatening. And then Peter comes back with the symbiote, and that's when I think he's going to come back with a vengeance.
This was our dream.
So what is Harry talking about here? So Harry's saying here, this is our dream. I wonder what he means by that. It's possible that Peter is saying, hey, like, we can't do this. This is unethical. And Harry's saying, no, this is our dream. We got to see it through. One of those things, once again, we're just going to have to see what happens.
Our dream.
He's probably talking about some kind of cure, because remember he's saying we're going to cure the world. And I think it's going to come up in a different version here.
This was our dream.
So this part here, obviously, is just from the gameplay trailer. So Harry looks like he's limping here, so he looks like he's still sick. So this here looks cool. Obviously this looks like a cutscene. He's just blowing people up. Now this just looks like, Symbiote Peter not really having much regard for people's safety around him, which that might happen if he's influenced by the symbiote or if he's just really angry. But I really hope this move here, this looks like some kind of crazy AoE attack. I hope we can use this in actual combat. Maybe it'll be a special when you click both of the sticks, R3 and L3. You can like set a special move. Hopefully this is one for the symbiote suit, because this looks really cool if there's like a big group of enemies around to fuck everybody up with this. So we see Norman here talking to Harry. Maybe this part here will be the okay, so MJ looks devastated here. I don't know what just happened. Once again, we'll see. Miles here just showing off his new Venom powers. So once again, I know I paused there. I just wanted to go back to catch those couple scenes, but this is a big one. So Norman's saying, "I'm not going to lose you to Harry." Now, I don't know when in the game this happens. It looks like the symbiote's behind him, but maybe this is part of Norman's Green Goblin, the birth of Norman's Green Goblin in this series, because he's saying, "I'm not going to lose you." It's almost like he's saying, "I'm going to do whatever it takes." So maybe he's got something. Maybe Harry's fucked, or maybe Harry's really hurt, or someone's trying to prevent Harry from getting what he needs. And hey, maybe Norman is maybe he's out of options and he's got his Goblin card in his back pocket. He's ready to pull that shit out. I really, really, really hope we get Goblin in this game. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm not confident. If somebody told me to, if I had to bet on it, I'm incredibly non-confident that Norman will become Goblin in this game. We already have Kraven, we have Venom. Can they fit Goblin? I don't know. Um, it's funny because it's almost like I would love to see him. He's my favorite Spider-Man villain. Um, I I know they're doing Venom. To be honest, I almost wish they didn't. I understand, Venom's popular in media. There's the Venom movies with Tom Hardy. He's probably the most popular and iconic Spider-Man villain, but I love Goblin. He's always been my favorite Spider-Man villain in the comics and all kinds of media. He's made Peter's life a living fucking hell. And I think he truly is the Joker to Spider-Man's Batman. And it's funny because it's almost like we had to beg Rocksteady Games to not put the Joker in the goddamn Arkham games. We couldn't pry the Joker away from us, and we have to beg Insomniac to give us the Green Goblin. So we have Norman, but we get the Goblin. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, Norman's made Peter's life hell without being Goblin as well. Um, I think it's kind of interesting what they're doing with him now in the current comic run, but I really want Norman as the Green Goblin. I think that obviously they would do that because that would hit the most with fans, and I would like it most. But we'll see if this is his Goblin birth right here. I'm not gonna lose you. Will he be in the game? It's up for grabs. So this scene's interesting here because this reminds me of the scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 when Spider-Man goes to visit Harry and he's like, I can't give you my blood because Harry thinks that Spider-Man's blood will cure him. And at the end he goes, you're a fraud, Spider-Man. Dane DeHaan's Harry Osborn. He always plays a fucking lunatic and he just throws the glass at the wall. That's got to be an homage to that. It's really similar. Obviously Harry had his drug problems in I believe the Lee Ditko era of comics, but this looks like it's from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, so here we hear Venom's voice saying we're going to heal the world, and we heard Harry say that early in the trailer, so it stands to reason that Harry's Venom. They just gave it away, but I think that might be a diversion because Insomniac's really good at like throwing us off. We didn't even know that Doc Ock was going to be a part of the game, let alone the main villain of Spider-Man PS4 until the fucking game was released. So it's like, what are they not telling us? Is this a diversion? Is it a trick? Who knows? It'd be interesting if they try to throw us off, or maybe they're thinking, well, they know they're gonna try and they have a feeling we're gonna try and throw them off. They'll think it's too obvious that Harry's Venom, and then make him Venom to to throw us off in the other direction. So who knows what they're gonna do? So this scene's really cool. I'm gonna let this play out, and then I'm gonna talk about it. So obviously Venom's just his hulking. He's super huge, muscular, just beating down this thing. Looks like one of Kraven's choppers. The roar there. And then the roar there. So he looks amazing. Venom looks fucking fantastic. Like I said, I almost wish we didn't get him because I'm just not an incredibly huge Venom fan. I like him, but we've just seen him in enough video games to where I'd rather a different villain get developed. But anyways, this is what we're getting. So he looks amazing. It seems like they're going more for his ultimate counterpart because I didn't really see any webs. Maybe he'll be able to web swing, but he more jumps more on the Ultimate Universe rather than 616. So looks like we're gonna get that version, which makes sense because it's like Peter and Miles swing around, so something different would be nice. I think Venom's gonna be super badass. It's gonna take both Peter and Miles to take him down. Like I said, I think it's gonna be Harry Osborn, but who knows? We know it's not Eddie Brock. Brian Intihar, the game's creative director, has already said that. So who's Venom? Are we going to be able to play as Venom? I don't know. Is he going to be playable? Who the fuck knows? The game's huge, 98 gigs, so there's room for him. We'll see if he's playable. We'll see how he plays. Like I said, he looks amazing. But how are they going to handle him? Who is Venom? How are Peter and Miles going to fight him? What role will Venom actually play? And will he be the main villain, or will Norman be the main villain as the Green Goblin? These are all questions I can't wait for. We're only 6 weeks away. So excited. And here's the famous white Insomniac logo with the red background. Man, that's iconic now, isn't it? And then here's the symbiote. I got this is just a nitpick. I got the special bundle controller. I really wanted to get the plates. I might still get a PS5 with those plates. I think they should still be in sale. I'm thinking about getting them. I know it's just cosmetic, but I really do like those plates. But the controller's a little bit too black for me. It's like almost like 85 to 90% of the thing is engulfed with the symbiote, and there's like a little bit of red in the right hand corner. I wish it was more red, honestly. To me, it's a little bit too dark with the symbiote, but that's just me. I'm just nitpicking. There it is, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Be greater together. Look at that. Love that message. Like I was saying, Peter and his relationships, Miles and their relationship. How's this gonna work? October 20th. Oh boy, 6 weeks away. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the Spider-Man 2 story trailer. I think we're going to get another one soon. Either a story trailer, a gameplay trailer, or some combination of both. I am super excited for this fucking game. This reaction was long overdue, but I got it out. Can't wait for the game. I'm taking 5 days off of work. I'm playing for 12 to 14 hours every day. I'm going to try to 100% this thing in 5 days. Can't fucking wait for the game. It's been 5 years since the first game and over 3. No, not quite. It'll be around 3 years since Miles Morales, and just can't wait. I've never been more excited for a video game in my life. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I can't fucking wait.